Hello, and welcome to Arts Insights Live, an ACG biweekly LinkedIn Live series featuring candid conversations on the trends, data, open positions, and different ideas shaping the arts and culture field. If you're joining us live, we'd love to hear from you in the comments where you're tuning in from, and feel free to ask questions or share thoughts throughout the session. Today, we're going to be talking about the Laguna Playhouse and the search that they did with us for their new managing director. I'd like to welcome first Lisa Hale, the board chair.
Hey, good morning. I will apologize in advance. I'm a little snarfly this morning, so hopefully the voice and the
Yeah.
Kleenex holds up.
So if you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Lisa, before we add our next guest.
Oh, sure. I'm the board chair at the Playhouse. I've been a board member since 2008. I came to be a part of the Playhouse when I moved up to Orange County from San Diego to attend UC Irvine's theater program back in the Stone Age when it first started, and made my home here and stuck around. So as long as they'll have me, I'll stay. Um,
Great.
my yeah.
So let's also welcome Adele Adkins, who is your recently added managing director. Adele, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, thanks for having us, Flora. I've been in the arts administration world since I graduated from Juilliard in 2021. When I was 21 years old. Sorry, I wish I graduated in 2021. And I fell in love with the business and artistic side of regional theaters after joining Bucks County Playhouse in 2022, and now thrilled to be here at Laguna Playhouse.
So today we want to explore the journey of a successful leadership search from each of your perspectives. How the process unfolded, the role that we played with your search committee, and how both of you felt supported, hopefully throughout. So what makes our process unique, and how it worked for you, to lead to such a positive outcome. So why don't we start with what led to this opportunity, Lisa, from your perspective, and how you went about the process of deciding on a search firm?
Right. Last December, December 2024, we decided, the board, that we needed to move on and find a new managing director. So myself and one of my fellow board members, Jeff Winston, um, went on a mission and interviewed numerous search firms, some of the normal suspects, and then we tried to interview some that were more out of the box. And we ended up going with ACG because you guys actually had the most comprehensive plan, and actually we were pretty blown away. All the fee structures are very similar, so that isn't an issue. But we felt very comfortable with even the beginnings of the process, that you were so attentive and had really a fully fledged plan and schedule down, to the day, very nearly, of what the process would look like. So we felt very comfortable with that and decided to move forward with you guys.
So once we got started, talk a little bit about the partnership between ACG and your search committee, and how what that looked like for you.
Yeah, the process was amazing, actually, very painless. You folks did all the work for us. It was wonderful. Once you'd accumulated all of the resumes, you guys sent them to us in a format which was wonderful, that we could have access to 24/7 for our own research, but no ability whatsoever to send them to other interested outside parties, as in my experience often happens. So that was wonderful to see that everyone's interests were hugely protected. The candidates, the hours, which I really appreciated coming from an HR background. And the fact that the interviews that you folks did with the candidates, all of them, that were brought forward to us 2-3 times, were so spot on, and we all felt like we knew the candidates before we even had a chance to meet them. And the fact that the questions were so comprehensive, and every candidate was asked the same thing. So it truly was oranges and oranges, and a very, very fair process, no bias, which was great. So by the time we actually did get to speak with candidates, we were able to move even farther down the road because we had so much background to start with, and we're able.
Oops. Okay, well, there you're back now, Lisa. You froze for a second. We're losing your sound. We're losing your sound, Lisa. So, Adele, why don't you talk a little bit until we get Lisa back about what it was like to go through the phases of the process as a candidate?
Yeah, so I've been through a number of searches over the last 14 years, and a lot of involved ACG. And I'm always really excited if I'm interested in a position and it's an ACG search. It's the most vulnerable position I feel like a person can be in, is putting themselves out there, you know, wanting to pursue a job. And ACG and the different people I've worked with there always make it a much more comfortable search. And you always feel like whoever is the lead recruiter, and Flora, you and I have done 2 searches together, you feel like you're being championed for. And even though you know that you're being like that with all the candidates, it doesn't matter. And you feel like you're in partnership to get this job. And the care that you guys take, especially when you're in person on site in the final round, is second to none. And a candidate feels so prepared as a finalist. I love the final project that ACG has the candidates do. I think it's really thorough. And to add on to what Lisa said, traditionally there are 2 first phone interviews. So a lot of that entry level questions gets kind of done so that when you're in front of the Zoom with the search committee for the first time, you're going to a much deeper place about the job. So you address what's your leadership style, all those questions, so that once you're in front of the search committee, you can really talk more about the job at the place. And that's so helpful.
Thank you. Lisa, from your perspective as the board chair, and I know you had Jeff working with you as the chair of the search committee, what were your parts of the process to keep it going smoothly, and how were we working together? Oh, we still don't have sound from you, Lisa. I'm sorry. So why don't we, while Lisa's working on that, Adele, why don't you talk a little bit about why the Laguna position, what made it interesting for you and made you decide to apply?
Are you back, Lisa? Oh, no. I know I've known of Laguna Playhouse. It's been around 100 years. So that was the first thing that interested me. And then you and I, Flora, were able to talk about the job and the struggles and the opportunities, and being able to have that conversation before I even submitted my materials was helpful. And I wish I had some very deep uh, way to explain like why Laguna Playhouse, but I've talked to other people in my position or at, performing arts centers. You just, when you're there as a finalist on site, you either feel it or you don't. I wish I could be like more articulate, but I've been in final rounds and even offered positions that with great organizations, that for whatever reason, I didn't feel that I was connected to.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I was a finalist at Laguna and on site and had dinner with members of the search committee, and then the day with all the interviews, I could picture myself there, and I had a vision for the organization. And I had been a finalist in 2 previous searches, one the week before with you, Flora. And I kept thinking, I don't think this is the right fit. I didn't get offered the job, but I kept thinking, I don't know how I'd fit into this organization.
Mm-hmm.
And with Laguna, I just kept thinking, okay, I didn't think I was ever going to move across the country, but this feels really like an excellent fit.
Lisa, do we have sound back from you? Let's try again.
I have no
There we are.
idea.
There we are. Great. So,
Oh,
thank
okay,
you.
good.
So, Lisa, what are some of the unique opportunities or challenges that are facing Laguna, and how did you see, how did the process help you see Adele as the person who could help you address them?
Yeah, we realized as we went down the process of looking for a new managing director, that we really needed to look at the theater differently than we had been in the past and do something different. And Adele became apparent to us that she had a fresh way of looking at things and that she had a vision. And it was about thinking out of the box and trying new things. So we decided that, she was it. We're going with her. And we are thrilled, absolutely thrilled. The roadmap is in place and everybody's bought in. And it's working. It's she and Aaron, and thank you for Aaron also. It was Lisa hit the jackpot here in 2020 with ACG. They are definitely our new power couple.
Awesome.
And it's really amazing. Absolutely. We feel very lucky that we were able to land both of these incredible women. But even in this short, they've been on board. They've been able to reach out to our public, our community, in a way that I haven't seen happen here in decades. So they're
So
bringing folks
search
back
process,
in.
this search process really was more than just a search process for the Laguna Playhouse.
Yeah, it was a period of rediscovery, honestly, of taking a hard look at what we were doing and saying, you know what, this isn't working, and we need to make a huge change now. Um, and Adele had the answer. I mean, when she did her SWOT, and the process being that all of the candidates, when they came for in-person interviews, the final part of the in-person process was the SWOTs, and hers was spot on. And when we got off of it and spoke as a group together, some of my more hardcore business types were really blown away by Adele's SWOT and how spot on it was. So yeah, we thought, all right, well, all right, it's time. She offer. Um, yeah, that was really helpful.
That's great. And so you've talked a little bit about, that this outcome has already benefited your organization.
Mhm.
And thank you. Adele, what has your transition been like, and how did the search process set you up for success?
The transition's been really seamless in a lot of ways. I was living in New Hope, Pennsylvania, on the East Coast. I had a son that needed to finish some schooling. I had some consulting projects that I needed to wrap up. And so, with your help, Flora, being the mediator, of course, I was able to start work immediately, but remotely, with a couple of visits out to Laguna before my family and I could drive cross country and land after Labor Day. And so I'm in my 5th week, boots on the ground, in SoCal. I feel like I've been here almost a year in a good way, meaning I'm working at a level that I've never started a job. It's taken so much longer. The transparency of Arts Consulting Group about there went poor Lisa. The transparency about the challenges and the opportunities are really vital. And I've not always received that transparency. And it's no secret regional theaters, nonprofits are still struggling. So it's okay if the financial picture is scary. You want the candidate walking into that job to understand, good or bad, where it is. And I'm just a person who, as long as I know what is in the bank account, even if it's bad, that's better than thinking we have a lot more and magical budgeting, as I call it. So ACG was able to really, and even after I was offered the job, Flora, I had some questions, and you just were able to very articulately put my mind at ease. And I thought, okay, good, because I did think the Playhouse had to make some profound changes in how we move forward. And so my main question was, please tell me, is the board at that place? And you said yes. And that's really why I felt comfortable moving across the country. And there's a couple of really amazing senior leaders at the Playhouse that really onboarded me. Like, I got a binder this thick, onboarded me. And one day we spent 10 hours just talking about the Playhouse. So I did work remotely for sure. But then when I got here, I was really off and running immediately, and already had met people in the community. So I felt very prepared. That's not to say there've not been surprises, but that's, anywhere, and not anything that a search process would have identified.
Certainly. So at this time, I'd love to hear from both of you or each of you. What advice would you give to an organization that knows that they're going to be going into a search, whether for permanent or, as we've done with you twice now, Lisa, interim?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So what advice would you give, Lisa, as the board chair and you were on the search committee, what advice would you give to organizations, not about choosing a firm necessarily, because we've talked about that, but about how you can support that during the process, and what were the pivotal moments that helped you make sure the search was going to be successful?
Yeah, be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the firm that you use. Be fearless. Be willing to listen. Be willing to really hear things that you might not want to hear. and to go places that you might not want to go, because that's the only way that you're going to end up with the person that you need. Beware of shiny objects, because sometimes the shiniest resume is not the person that you actually need. And just be honest with the candidates. Like Adele was saying, it's better to be upfront about your complete situation than have somebody land in your home, in your your theater, your business, and then find out that there's skeletons in the closet, whatever
Mhm.
those are. Because then there's just always that, gosh, you weren't upfront with me. And we knew that we really needed to be very transparent with the candidates that we were speaking with. And in so doing, we were not able to scare Adele away, uh, which, and I felt, honestly, for the first time in a long time, so comfortable in the fact that she wanted to be here. She wanted this job. She wanted this challenge in particular, and she had lots of opportunities out there. And uh, and we all felt it. We all knew it, from talking to her. Um, so that would be my advice. You'll have such a better outcome, if you listen to people like Flora, because they're there to shepherd you and keep you on the correct path, so that you don't veer into territory that may seem correct at the moment, but long term probably isn't. um, because you're going to see a lot of resumes, and some folks will bind to different people. But listen to your Flora, and things will turn out well.
Well, thank you so much. Adele, as a candidate, and we've all at some point in our lives been applying for jobs, and it is a very vulnerable and difficult time, even if the first one you apply for is the one that you get, but that's rarely true. So what would you advise a candidate going into a comprehensive search process as you went through for the job at Laguna?
Um, never take it personally, any search, which is easier said than done. First, your words on a piece of paper, and that's your first step. And then once you have that first phone interview or whatever interview process, to Lisa's point, you have to be honest and transparent. And because, again, why you don't want to land in a job that you're not the right fit for, which is really hard, because sometimes you're miserable in your current job, or sometimes you just are bored, whatever your reason for looking for your next opportunity. Especially at an executive level, you don't want to end up in the wrong place.
Mhm.
And it's, I've said, as if I'm like a finalist or semifinalist, like, I'm going to give you the authentic me, because because for me, I want to make sure if you hire me, you know what you're getting. And so, as tempting as it is maybe these days to like AI things, um, don't do that, because you might get the job and you might not have the skill set, or it might not be the right fit. So for your own happiness and success, set yourself up for success by being authentic and honest with the search committee.
That is a great point. I think I've always said, this is be the person that you're going to be. You can't maintain a fiction for very long, right?
Right.
So I have two more questions for you. I think you'll like both of them. Give me 3 words to describe the future of Laguna Playhouse. I know, isn't that kind of fun?
Yeah. Excellence. I'll do mine, then Lisa can do her. Excellence, variety, and accessibility, financial accessibility.
Awesome. Lisa?
Hmm. Positive, bright, and exciting.
Love that. So, and your community of Laguna, how can your community members and your audiences best support Laguna Playhouse as you move forward? You know, the times have been up and down, and with this new leadership, Adele, and you know, from you, Lisa, what do you need from your community and from your audience to make sure that Laguna Playhouse is excellent and thriving and exciting, sustainable?
Aside from the obvious of donating, which we're at a place at the Playhouse, honestly, where yes, of course, we need donations 100%, but the director of advancement, Aaron, who we mentioned on this, we're working every day on building a case, our own case for support, so that we can start, you know, leveling up donors. But for me, I care deeply, and I believe deeply that the success of any arts organization, whether you're a regional theater, I sound like I'm interviewing now, but whether you're a regional theater or a performing arts center, you're there to serve a community, right? So we are working on, it starts with us before I can say how can the community support us. We need to create more programs that are not on stage to welcome in more of the community.
Right.
And so what the community can do for us, the people who are already big supporters that come to the shows, or the new people we're going to bring into the Playhouse, whether it's a show or a book club, it's just spread the word. Say exciting things are happening and new things are happening at the Playhouse. That's my take on that.
What about you, Lisa?
Yeah, we've really over time lost the connection with the community, the immediate community in Laguna and the broader community in Orange County. So we need to focus on just bringing people back in the doors, you know, not, again, just reiterating what Adele said, because that is the most important thing that we have to do right now. We need to build a bridge back to people to just, hey, come down to the theater and, right, do the book club or, I don't know, Pilates or whatever else we're going to do. And stay for the shows because they're great, but come for community, you know.
Oh, I love that. Come for community.
All right,
Oh,
you
there
can
you
use
go.
it. Yeah.
Come for community and stay for the show. Thank you both so much
Yeah.
for sharing your experiences and perspectives, and for everyone who joined us for the conversation. ACG is always proud and honored to work with organizations like the Laguna Playhouse, and to support your leadership transitions and support you in other ways when we can. So for anyone who's listening, if your organization is getting to think about your next chapter of leadership, or if you're a candidate, a leader interested in new opportunities, we hope that you'll connect with us. And you can find us on the ACG website or reach out to us here on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me personally. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to hear from organizations and individuals who are interested in what ACG has to offer. And I hope, I just have to say, working with you, Lisa, and you, Adele, and the rest of your search committee as well, Lisa, and the amazing staff at Laguna Playhouse, it really was everything a search process can be. And we hope to bring that to other clients soon. I mean, we enjoy it. It was
Well,
really
thank
fantastic.
you. You know, I had you on speed dial most of the year here, and you guys did not ever disappoint. Thank you to you and Bruce, everybody there. We were, you know, we were in a bad stretch. So you guys really supported us, you know, for a good 6-7 months. And we've come out on top now. So we thank you.
Well, our mutual admiration society needs to come now.
I haven't met her in person. She was an important part of the process.
Yes, Madame was a hugely important part of the process. Everything at ACG is a team effort, which is why it's so great when we have a search committee and a staff who want to partner with us in the way that the search committee and the staff at Laguna really did, who welcomed us in and were very open, transparent, and participatory from day one. So thank you again. All right, well, till the next time. And,
Right.
and all the best to both of you. We'll always, of course, stay in touch with you as we do to make sure things continue successfully. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Flora.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.